Hi, my name is Brandon and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. Today I finished reading When Bad Things Happen to Good People by Rabbi Harold S. Kushner. It's a very interesting book with a lot of unconventional views on why bad things happen, and not necessarily filled with answers about why they happen, but with thoughts about the nature of the world and what our responses to the less than perfect things that sometimes happen uh, should be, and the way that we should consider responding when life seems to treat us unfairly, when injustice seems to prevail, where we can easily see what justice looks like. And on the last page, he has a section that I found really powerful. I'm going to read that now. He says, "Are you capable of forgiving and accepting in love a world which has disappointed you by not being perfect, a world in which there is so much unfairness and cruelty, disease and crime, earthquake and accident? Can you forgive its imperfections and love it because it is capable of containing great beauty and goodness, and because it is the only world we have? Are you capable of forgiving and loving the people around you, even if they have hurt you and let you down by not being perfect? Can you forgive them and love them because there aren't any perfect people around, and because the penalty for not being able to love imperfect people is condemning oneself to loneliness? And if you can do these things, will you be able to recognize that the ability to forgive and the ability to love are the weapons God has given us to enable us to live fully, bravely, and meaningfully in this less than perfect world?" And I really found a lot of beauty in those thoughts. When I was in my addiction, I actively looked at the world as a despicable place, a place filled with injustice, a place filled with terrible disease, terrible events. And I still, in my recovery, acknowledge that. But the difference is that in my recovery, I love the world in spite of those things. I love the world because I've also, instead of being closed off like I was in my addiction to just seeing the bad in the world, I've also opened my heart in order to see the good in the world. And beyond that, I've taken the advice of everybody I've encountered in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and sought not only to see what good there is in the world, but what good I can put into the world. And in that, I found some purpose. Through acknowledging that the world is not perfect and embracing the parts of it that I can find beauty in, and then trying to create more of that beauty myself, I find not only purpose but strength and hope. And it's that strength and hope that helps carry me through the rough times, and it's that strength and hope that serves to create a foundation for the spiritual condition that I need to maintain in order to maintain lifelong sobriety. It's a beautiful thing that he talks about here, and I would really recommend this book to anyone who struggles with the idea that such an imperfect world, a world filled with the kind of pain our world is filled with, anyone who struggled with the idea of reconciling that with their beliefs, this is a great book to do that. It doesn't give you any solid answers on why bad things happen, but it does give you some different perspectives. I can't try to explain them all. He took an entire book to do that. I'm not going to attempt to do that in a video, but I will say that I benefited greatly from reading this book. The next book that I'm going to read is This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. And this is a very popular book in the recovery community. you can see on the front it says control alcohol. And I first read this book right when I stopped drinking, when my goal was to just stop drinking. I wasn't worried about marijuana and some other drugs. I was fine with continuing to use those drugs, but I wanted to stop drinking. And I read this book at that point at the recommendation of a recovery group I was part of, and was interested to find out that control alcohol, in Miss Grace's opinion, it doesn't quite mean that this book teaches you how to drink just a few drinks a night. In fact, reading this book only reinforced my belief that the only way for me to control alcohol was to get it out of my life entirely and never pick up another drink again. So that was 5 years ago when I first read this book. Haven't looked at it since. I've been in a full program of recovery and been completely sober. So I'm really excited to dive back into it. I'll start that tomorrow. In the meantime, that's it for today.